All right, and camp, it's time for another and campaign civic update. And today I want to talk about the Republican debate from last night. A lot was going on. So if you missed it, you know you can always come to the and campaign for a recap so that you can stay informed. And let me tell you, with the 2024 elections coming up, it is imperative that you stay informed to be a responsible citizen. And the and campaign is here to help you do that. All right. So we had the GOP debate last night. This is the fourth debate. It was held in Alabama. It was hosted by News Nation. I want to give a shout out to News Nation because I thought that the format and the questions that they asked were really good. And if you've been following my debate coverage, you know that I've been complaining because there's really just been too many people in these debates. And so the debates were not substantive. In some instances, you had about 8 people in the debate. This time it was only 4 people. All right. So you had Ron DeSantis, you had Nikki Haley, you had Vivek Ramaswamy, and you had Chris Christie. And this allowed them, because it was fewer people, to get down to business. And the first group of questions that they asked these folks were really piercing questions and tough for them to answer. And so I thought they did a really good job. The moderators did a really good job with that. Something you'll note is that you didn't hear me say Trump's name. So Trump is not participating in the debates. The first primary is about in a month, Iowa, or a month and a half. And Trump has not come to any of these debates. You'll also note that the Democrats are not having primary debates at all, not really having primaries. So, you decide what that means, but I just want to make sure you know kind of what's going on. Let me give you a little more context, though. The first thing you need to know about what's going on in the GOP primary is that Trump is up big. In most polls, he's up around 50 points. Which means, although you have 4 other people debating, the chances of them catching Trump are very, very low. It's not likely they're going to catch him unless one of his cases catches up with him. These folks aren't going to be able to touch him because he's just too far ahead. Now, DeSantis is in a distant second, but Nikki Haley is really nipping at his heels. She just got some really big donor endorsements, which is going to give her the funds to stay in this primary for longer. So that's kind of what's going on as far as the primary race. The highlights, though, when I think of highlights from this debate, the first thing that I think about is the conversations about the wars, the war in Ukraine and also the war in Israel. Now, it's important that you know that support for the war in Ukraine among Republicans is really waning. They're not supporting it in the way that they were supporting it before. They're making it harder to get funding to the Ukrainians. And to be honest, there are a few nonpartisan experts who are saying that this may not be winnable for Ukraine. And so it's making people question whether the money should be go over there in the same way when it doesn't look like they can beat Russia. And their best thing that they may be able to do is just try to kind of sign some peace treaty or find some way to get out of this. So very important. But the other thing about the Ukraine conversation that sticks out to me is this was a low point for Nikki Haley. Vivek Ramaswamy basically asked her if she could name 3 Ukrainian provinces. He was basically saying that since you talk about this war so much and you want us to be so involved, can you even name 3 provinces? She couldn't name 3 provinces, and she had a very blank look on her face, and it was just a bad moment for her. And so I think that's something that really stuck out in all that was going on. They all, gave full support to Israel. The only nuance there was Vivek Ramaswamy said that they should be fighting these wars themselves, that they shouldn't have the U.S. funding it nor telling them what to do, that they should be able to fund it themselves, but they do deserve to defend themselves and all that. And so they were all in agreement on that. Something else that came up was Trump. And so, as usual, Chris Christie was and this is really seems like why he's running, Chris Christie was very quick to attack Trump. And very quick to say he is not fit for office. Nobody else on this panel will say that, but I'm going to say he's not fit for office. And so he stuck out there. DeSantis was always also willing to criticize Trump for not being there, for some of the things that he failed on while in office, but he would not say that he was unfit for office. And Nikki Haley nor Vivek Ramaswamy would say that he was unfit for office or shouldn't be in office if he's prosecuted for one of those crimes. So that's something else that sticks out. There was a conversation about transgender surgeries for kids. This is where Chris Christie got challenged because he's basically said that that's up to the parents, where other people are saying, no, you can't sterilize children. That's child abuse. And so that was another part of the debate that they went back and forth on. As far as winners and losers, I would say that the winner was probably Ron DeSantis. I think that his campaign was probably helped out the most for this. He stayed steady. He had some pretty good attacks, had some fairly good answers. The thing about him is he's kind of awkward. He's not really he's not really somebody that's charismatic, and so I think that hurts him on stage. I don't think he had a great performance. I think he probably did better than the others. Vivek Ramaswamy actually had the most highlights. He had those moments where he's really hitting somebody, but what I think his opponents have been able to do is paint him as this young know-it-all who talks a lot but really isn't ready for the big stage and isn't ready to govern. And I think that has worked. One of the things that you try to do in politics is you try to make the opposition's strength their weakness. So his strength is his ability to get up there and talk. He's the most comfortable on stage. He's actually a really good debater, but they've turned it into his weakness, and they say, well, you're just a loudmouth, you're obnoxious. And I think that has worked well. The other thing about Ramaswamy is he agreed with some conspiracy theories that I think it just really does make him look a little crazy up there, but he's willing to say whatever he needs to say to get further. And then I would say, as far as losers, Nikki Haley, I think she had a bad night. Number one, she was unable to name the provinces. Number two, even the moderators kind of hit her on the fact that when she was at the UN, she had thousands of dollars in her bank account. A few years after that, she had 8 million. And some of those deals just don't sit right with a lot of people. And I think that hit her pretty hard. Chris Christie did all right, but he doesn't really have a chance. It was kind of clear. And so those are my winners and losers. If you like this type of information, you can always get more of it on the Church Politics Podcast with myself and the Right Reverend Christopher Butler. Remember, we are where you come to get the information. We're trying to keep you informed. And if you're one of those people who loves Jesus but don't really love conservatism or progressivism, we're people that I think that you will appreciate the information that we're giving out. So hope all is well. Merry Christmas. I'll talk to y'all soon.